Good morning to the DMV and the rest of the world. This is your girl, aka the best that ever did it, aka yada yada yada. I'm tired today. Y'all know who this is. And I'm not here by myself. Of course, I got the lovely Bernice Smith. She get on my nerves sometimes. She be coming on here all cute with her face all beaten, her eyes all done. Good morning, Bernice.
Good morning. My makeup getting on your nerves.
Your flossy, your shine, your glow. No, sis, it's beautiful, and I love it. I'm just sad that I can't get my face made up and beat all like that. I just can't for two reasons. I'm not used to it, and I can't see. So you talk about some eye makeup. I've been up. My eye would be on the tip of that lash thing, the mascara, and I know it would be. But that's creepy me. But we also here today with my boy Molly Mall, our super producer Molly Mall. He's in the back working on a million things like he always do, but he still find time to bless us and do the Morning Mac show. For that, I'm truly grateful. Thank you, Mall. So today's topic, I'm going to dive right in. Before we get into any video, let me give a warning to some people who may not want to hear the truth. We're gonna talk about some things and some truth and some opinion today. And some of y'all might be faint at heart. A lot of people, I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to hear about what happened, da this and da that. Well, sometimes we need that. We need to be refreshed and reminded where we coming from, what we doing, and the world that we really living in, what's really going on, so we can be good about it and protecting ourselves as well as our children, and as well as the next generation. Okay. Um, but first, I want to say, of course, everybody know about Quavo yesterday. I'm not Quavo. Takeoff yesterday. Rest in peace. It's an unfortunate, violent thing that happened. But what could we have done before that happened? Before to prevent that boy from getting shot? Nothing. Or do you think it was something somebody could have said or done differently who may have been able to save him or make a difference? I just think that he was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. And like I said, a stray bullet has no name. They say he wasn't even involved in the altercation. You know, that makes me sad. And then that's when you hear people, when we lose one of our celebrity children, it makes us sad as a people. Then we want to go and talk about it like, oh, that's sad. We need to be talking about every day, because although Takeoff was a celebrity, we got so many brothers and sisters out there losing their life on the norm, getting shot on the norm, getting killed on the norm. Um, we need to tell these children every day how special they are and how uh, loving they are and all that. Maybe that'll make a difference in the way that they move and in the way the circle of the people that they keep around them. That's just my point of view, my theory. That's just me. Bernice, what do you think?
Well, I feel bad when anybody loses their life. But my problem with our community is when it happens in our community, you don't hear too many people talking about it. It's not publicized. We don't reach out to comfort each other, but if a celebrity dies, everybody's mourning. These people ain't know nothing about you, don't care nothing about you, but your next door neighbor passes and it's like, oh, that's tragic, or that's just what they do. No. And of course something could have been done differently. Like yesterday we were speaking on anger. So the story is that somebody got angry because they're a sore loser and it pops off from there. Now had he taken it differently, maybe Takeoff will still be here. So we have to think about it from all angles. And I'm puzzled because this is a place where celebrities are hanging out. Where are the cameras? Why weren't people checked for guns? You know, because you're famous, you get to slide. It doesn't make sense to me. And like I said, I'm really sorry that someone innocent lost their life because, like they said, he wasn't even involved. He was just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's too much of that taking place these days, and it's really out of hand. And for just my opinion, the government don't care. They
Girl,
happy that
no.
you know they say police say well we ain't gotta do it because they taking care of each other.
Hmm.
And same token, we have to play a bigger part in it. We definitely do in helping these young people realize that there's more to life. There is more to life. And because of peer pressure and all this stuff, people getting in there and sorry to say, half the people with guns are punks.
And hard headed. Had a nerve to be. A lot of them are hard headed. That's why I said it's not so much that we're saying that take off. Um, because we're mourning and anytime you lose any of our brothers and sisters or anybody for that matter, but it's the circle that you moved in. Takeoff may not have been the aggressive one in the circle, but he may have had a hot head in his plug that always like to pop off. You got to remove those kind of people. Those kind of people get you in trouble. Those kind of you got to be careful in the circle that you move in, because if you feel that somebody's energy's off, then you got to distance yourself from that. Because what happened, they said it was somebody in his own camp that accidentally shot him. Somebody getting all rowdy, all about it, pop off. He don't get shot, but he gets somebody else killed. Don't it seem like that? The person that you would have thought getting shot, the aggressor, the one pulling out the gun, that he would get popped. No, it'd be the one standing next to him because they don't have no gun training. They don't know what they're doing with these guns, and they let their anger take over them to where they want to get up and physically assault somebody over a little bit of money. You know them people had money, all them celebrities, and I know you couldn't be getting mad over losing some money. If you got it, my grandmother used to tell me, if you're gonna get mad, you don't need to play.
Right? You can't be a sore loser and then you losing. You got money. You have money. So I don't understand the issue. It's a thing of egos. Egos oftentimes win the battle between good and evil. It was that man's ego, and now his boy
Clout,
gone. It's his
clout.
boy.
Mhm.
His boy is gone. So what can you say about that? I mean, what can he possibly say that can ease anybody's mind? No, nothing. There's nothing
Nothing.
you can say because it could have been definitely handled differently. And again, I don't care how famous you are. You go into a place where there are going to be crowds. Everybody should be checked for guns. Should nobody have guns but security? And that's just, that's my opinion on it.
And I
Now they
think they're saying that the boy security, one of the people security, went off. But you gotta could be able to control your security. Security's supposed to be calm so they can subdue the situation. Because when you're in panic mode, you can't help nobody. You busy. You gotta stay calm so you can assess the situation, look what's going on. Um, so you right, there needed to be security. If there was, especially if there was no cameras, maybe there was no cameras because they was doing something they ain't had no business doing. True that,
right.
but you supposed to have your rock with you, the one that comes, your bodyguard, your protector. And it was like all willy nilly. And it's unfortunate. And I'm not saying it's unfortunate because it's unfortunate because he's a rich celebrity that got killed. I'm saying it's unfortunate because we still ain't learned. How many scenarios like this do our young people get? All over guns, banging with guns, rich people banging with guns. Like our generation, we lost Tupac and Biggie, one of the greatest. For us, for non-senseless violence over words and over clout. The younger generation is still doing it, and at a more rapid pace than our generation had. And it seemed like the next generation. My
Yeah.
grandmother used to say when she was living that they would cut you, that you get your throat slit quick, right? If you doing something. Now you just get these bullets, pop, pop, pop. That's when everybody didn't have guns like they do now. Everybody had switchblade back then. Some people was getting cut. Now You got guns. You can go at the they ain't going to Walmart and buy you a gun. You go get a gun anyway now. So and they just picking up these things and hot headed tempered and like you said, the little punks that be doing all that are the boys that's really not about it. They the scaredy cat ones. And that's just
Yeah.
like and they want to shoot first and ask question later. They no different than those police officers that yell gun, gun. They all scared and want to shoot at the thing.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, I don't condone violence at all. It's it affects you whether people believe it or not. Just seeing the violence, whether it's a fight or whatever the case may be. But for me, when I see these little youngins out here throw their hands, I say respect. I respect that because you ain't whipping out a gun. You know what I'm saying? Go old school, throw your hands, and then when they're done, they shaking hands, giving each other a hug, and they moving forward with their day. And
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm just one who respects that because at the end of the day, everybody get to go home.
Like knuckle up. You knuckle up. But now it's no more knuckle up, it's strap up now. There's no more throwing the hands. But
Even if
that's
you
how we
throw
used to
hands,
solve our issues too.
yeah, but even if you throw hands these days, the thing about it is, again, ego plays a role. Oh, you got beat up, because you know how our people can be. Oh man, you got dogs, whatever the case may be, and the person like, okay, I can't live with that, so I'm gonna take homie out.
And that's what they do. It's the fear of being laughed at. So what? So what you got beat up? So what?
And
But
it was
it's
so and it's so disrespectful. That's why I kind of hate social media because they took and put this boy's dead body all over the internet. Are you serious? I mean, what kind of mind does that for a like? What kind of disrespectful person are you to do this to this man and his family at that, where you just have no regard for, no regard or no respect for this person? Come on, this man is laying there dead and y'all posting his video. You are a sick individual.
they don't care. It's like they don't know no better, because they wasn't taught the value and how precious life is and all that stuff. So if they don't understand that they doing something wrong or how it could be perceived wrong or how to give the family time to grieve and mourn. I mean, what if the mothers, his mama, don't know, and the first time she see her child's dead body is on somebody's social media? That would
Yeah,
freak up. I mean, that would freak not only freak you out, it would hurt. It just oh,
it's
you
getting
know,
out of hand. It really is. Social media is getting out of hand. People do anything for a like. Anything for a like. And it's ridiculous that we're living in times where, like I said, we have no regard for life. We have no respect for each other, you know. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep my self-respect. I'm not doing anything for a like. I done seen too much, and I'm just like, no, I'm gonna maintain my self-respect. I'm gonna respect others, you know what I'm saying? Now, if I see something where there's police brutality or something like that, yep, I'ma post it. But that's a total difference from disrespecting this man and he's laying there dead. But again, the government don't care. They don't care. They don't. They never have. So what will make them start caring now? We have a lot of actors out here because now it's time to vote. It's time to vote. So a lot of people putting on that mask. Halloween ain't over. They still got on their costumes. But as soon as they in there, guess what? It's gonna shift. It's gonna change. And black people need to stop saying, "Oh, my vote don't matter," even though we know that they do crooked stuff. Still, go vote. Make your voice known. Because we complain about a lot of stuff, but are you doing anything to change it?
right. And it's sad. So my question today, we're gonna share a video with y'all. And my question today is a deep one. Is the question I want to know, where do we belong? Because I think that's the problem. as enslaved Africans, because I was told stop saying slaves. So we have to say what it was. It was enslaved Africa, brought here by the colonizers. And it's like they're not, the colonizer want us out, want to move us out. So where do you belong? Because you can't go back home because there's no home to go back to because it's all muddled up and they don't want you back there really. So where do we fit in? Where do we belong? I think this is my just me and my craziness, my fantasy learning. I think we can make a life here for us if they let us, but nobody want to let us be in peace. Nobody want to. A lot of people like being spoon fed, like being led, like being told what to do. A lot of people still enjoy being enslaved. Um, no, I don't, because the way they set things up. But let's just roll the clip and then let's get everybody's opinion on what they're about to see. I came across this and it got me thinking, and I hope this will get you all thinking as well. Critical thinking, the process got to start.
Let's talk about this upcoming bullshit rewrite of history. If you didn't know, this is Viola Davis's new.
Okay, I want to start with the whole historical inaccuracy because every Hollywood movie on any historic white figure is always inaccurate. And I think a good example would be Churchill. Churchill is portrayed as this amazing man who was great, who was loving. The man was insane. The man was barbaric. He was a monster. Go look at the Bengal famine. And that will tell you everything. And also, America is the same nation that celebrates serial killers. You have Ted Bundy fans. You have Jeffrey Dahmer fans. And these are literal girls that were writing letters to him and stuff. Like, how? And also, this thing about cannibalism and barbaric, America has such a bad history. Look, America, how it started. You wiped off the Indians. And the worst thing was, you didn't just wipe them, you manipulated them and then killed them. You gave them a disease. And then what you did to the slaves when you went over to Africa and bought the slaves. Okay, slavery was always a thing back then, by the way. And like, people would buy slaves. Europeans went to Africa, they bought some slaves. But when they took them back to America, what they did to them is beyond. There's a book called 1,000 Years of Lynching, and it shows how slaves were killed, how they were like tortured. And there was one method where they hanged a pregnant woman by a tree, cut into her stomach, pulled the unborn baby out just to scare the other slaves into doing work. There were mass farms in America during slavery that were black slave women tied up and forced to be impregnated by the slave men, just so they can keep giving birth to keep producing more slaves. And the little babies were used as alligator bait. So let's not talk about how barbaric history is and stuff. And also, this was one of the tribes that when they found out how the Europeans were treating the slaves that they sold, they went to go fight and get those slaves back. And also, you talk about how this tribe carried on with slavery. Yeah, Britain and America never just gave up slavery because they were righteous people. Black people had to fight for that. And Britain paid slave owners. Up until 2015, the entire UK had to, literally paid off slave owners. And David Cameron's family profited off slave ownership. So we talk about all this history and stuff. Your history is so much darker. Britain and America's history is the darkest in the world. Look at the amount of army bases around the world by the US. Go look at what happened in the Vietnam War. That you had no right to be in that country. Okay, so there's just so much historical inaccuracy from your end. There's just so much manipulation and darkness that I just don't get how whenever black people are breaking barriers, they have a movie that's celebrating them, you'll just find a reason why. Okay, and when you find the truth, it hurts and scares you. Go read about what Britain did in South Asia. The rape and murder of innocent women and children. It's just one of the things that you guys can't comprehend, but we know the truth. Okay, you feel like you're running, now you know how we feel.
Wow. Wow. And he said the truth that whenever we do something as a colorist people, breaking barriers, we can't even have time to celebrate and be happy because there's always some treachery afoot. There's always something dark waiting, for us. There's always somebody coming for us. If we're not coming for each other, then it's the other ones that's because the colonizers coming for you. But he got you coming from each other. So it's we still in like mental slavery. And what he was saying about he had to cut the guy off because he was trying about to trash the movie with Viola Davis and all that stuff. I want to know, that was a great movie. How come it's out of the movie that quick? You don't hear nothing about it. You only heard something about it that one week. Then after that, it got bumped right on out with some other stuff.
You
Did
got
we
some
not support the movie?
yeah. We got some comments.
Okay.
Well, uh DJ Slicky say, hey, one love, y'all.
Hey.
Girl, hey fam, love always. Gwen Factor, she said, good morning, all. DJ Slicky Woo. He said, well, I got to be true. I'm sorry he lost his life, but I don't know him to mourn. And Gwen Factor said that Texas is different. They have open carry laws. DJ Slicky Woo, he say, you killing it, Lady B, tell him. Girling says, this earth belongs to us. We are the original people on this planet. So they the ones that need to leave and relocate. And DJ Slicky says, nah, God, that's who earth belongs to.
And God's children. And it belonged, he made it for his children, God's children. And
But
that I believe. And I believe if we stop being manipulated and just practical think and just think for a second about things and everything, about what's been fed to us, we know something is wrong. How can you trust the people who is it captured you and brought you over here, lied to you from the beginning, lied to your to the people that had you before they say, here, yeah, you can take a couple of slaves, here you go. And then when they got you over here, treated you barbarically, treated you worse than they did animals. They bred you and made you work like you was a dog. And that's how you were treated. And then when our people found out back home, when I say in Africa, they was like, okay, no, we not trading with you no more. But it was too late because when they stopped the trade, they started to steal. They had you stealing each other. So yeah, we need to stay right here where we are, and we need to build up. We need to start with the communities, start with looking out for each other. It starts with a conversation. Let's get a plan together. We've always tried to do this since we've been on this end of the spectrum. It's on the end of the globe. We tried to talk about and find our way home. Well, now this is our home, and now we need to cultivate a plan where we can live peaceably, successfully, peaceably. There's enough resources and stuff out here where nobody should be hungry, nobody should be clothed. Um, we just gotta reach out and help one another. And I'm asking people now, start with supporting each other. Like we have an event coming up, or should say Bernice has an event coming up on November the 19th. It's mental health awareness. It talks about um, her situation, the loss of her son. And when I hear her speak about that, I think about my own child. I think about other people's children because a loss is a loss to me. I may not have to know you to mourn you. That's another soul gone. I may not know you personally. Like that little boy that got shot, the 14-year-old that got shot. I don't know him, but I felt him in my heart.
yeah, because that's somebody's baby, and I say,
So
a
I don't
lot of
have to
people, the
know.
problem is we're detached. A lot of us are so detached. Now, these young guys out here aren't my children, but I call him my hood son. His name was Cecil. It made a year yesterday. He passed. He died like 29 days before my own child. And that thing broke my heart. It broke my heart. I asked God, I said, why God? So I never understood their pain because my neighbor, who is Dion K's mother, he was murdered by the police. She was my neighbor. And the day I heard her crying out, she said, they killed my baby. I could feel that thing. So we have to become, back in the day they said it takes a village.
It
Well,
really
now
does.
everybody has cliques. So if you ain't in our clique, you don't matter. We're not going to survive in that manner. We are not going to survive in that manner. And I understand the open carry laws or whatever the case may be, but in the same token, they have to put some restrictions on it because anybody can possess a gun now. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And where do you think all these guns coming from? We manufacturing them? Hell no.
No,
Hell
that's
no.
Smith and
They're
Wesson.
putting them in our hands. They're putting them in our children's hands. It's too easy for them to get. And it's funny how you can't seem to regulate that, but you want to regulate nicotine and worry about plastic bags, charging us
No,
five
they want
for a
to tell a
bag.
woman that what to do with their body, and I disagree with that. And not saying that I'm for abortion, but I believe it's a woman's right to choose. But you're not giving our sons and daughters a right to choose when you put that gun in their hand. You telling them to go kill everything, everybody, the born and even the unborn. The lady got shot with the baby in her stomach, but that's okay. But you so worried about my right to choose. Y'all better focus and worry on that other stuff.
Yeah, but
Leave the woman's rights alone and go after the gun laws. They ain't
they
gonna
don't,
mess with what the gun laws are in the rifle National Rifle Association because it's the money.
they don't care. And all this is is
Oh, they
is,
didn't
is
care. They care about the money. They care about the wrong things because women are the lowest thing on the totem pole, and the black woman's at the bottom. So they could pick with us, take our rights, and also affirmative action. That's going to be voted on too, where they're taking that back. Y'all know what affirmative action was. They made companies that was all white companies. 15% of your staff had to be black. So they gave us the opportunity to get a little bit of getting for those who wanted to get. You take that affirmative action away and have them doing everything, you can have all this and all that. That's going to block a lot of jobs for the people, our people, who's trying to
but
get
that's why
in, to get their foot in, to get up, to do better.
but
That's
that's
the whole
why
purpose of them going to college.
our people have to and it's necessary. We have to take some accountability for what we do. You know what I'm saying? And that's why our people need to come together and build our communities. It's too many entrepreneurs out here for us to be struggling. If you're in the door, open the door for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And I have to kind of disagree with you as far as they putting the guns in our kids' hand and they don't have a choice. We have a choice. We have our own minds. They make the choice. Okay, the gun in my hand. Am I going to kill somebody?
No, I
That's a
didn't mean
choice.
that. I said the pro choice, our choice to choose what we do with our bodies. I'm talking about two different things. The
No, I was
gun,
talking about the statement you made. You talking about them putting the guns in the kids' hands. Yeah, they have the opportunity to obtain those guns, but they make the choice on what they're going to do with those guns. My
okay,
son brought his gun for protection, and it
that's
ended
what
up
it was
being
supposed to use for. And it was protection against the colonizers because they was walking around just shooting us down. So then the laws are for law for everybody. Then that's when we start getting the guns to show them, well, we got guns too. Ain't gonna be no hurry sundown town around here like that.
yeah.
Because I
Well,
got relatives that's missing during that time. My grandmother's aunt is missing, and she's 26 years old, and they still never found her body. Still
I'm
never
not
to
surprised.
this day. She gone.
Two
She
hundred
cut
and
up.
thirty thousand people go missing a year, and you know that black people when they go missing, they don't get the same response as everybody else. We
And
don't
this
get
was,
that media support.
but Bernice, this was the time when they were snatching black folks. This was the
They
time
still don't.
back in the 50s and the 40s where black people went missing crazy because you need somebody to experiment on. You need somebody, a doctor, or one of the colonizer doctors say how they would kidnap people and do run tests and experiment on. And
Well,
that's what
now
they
they
was
take,
doing.
yeah. Well,
Still
now
going.
they taking us. Now they taking us for sex trafficking. Now they stealing organs. I just looked at a couple stories this morning where a black vet he got arrested and they said he died in police custody. But when they got his body, all his organs were missing. There was a black model they found on the side of the road. Every one of his organs was gone. His eyes, liver, kidney, lungs, everything was missing. So it's still happening.
Yeah, yeah,
It's happening. We're valuable to them, but not in the way that we should be. We're valuable because of our assets, our our bodies and what they can get from it. It's hard out here. We just and we often say, where do we belong? My theory is this, and they may not want me here, but I belong wherever I want to be. That's my mindset. Now you may be trying to push me out. And I tell my kids all the time, I say, baby, honestly, mommy don't want to live in Washington, D.C. I said, but I want to make enough money to say, Negro, if I want to live here, I will.
yeah. We
So
I want we. They won't leave us alone. We can't get no peace. We can't get no peace within our own race because there been a lot of them has been brainwashed and to go against us, to go against the grain, to go against the fabric of their very own being. Look at Herschel Walker. I mean, it's sad that he's out there cutting up like he doing all of this buffoonery, all of this cooning that this man is doing. Um,
yeah,
and this is the people. It's our own people. Sometimes they take us down quicker because their mind is gone. The colonizer really did a job on their mind, and I
yeah,
believe we got to wake them up. We got to tap into our children. Remember the yesterday's show was about the anger management. We got to control how we feel about things, and then we got to teach our children how to control and pass that on to the next generation. Next generation. I look at it as each generation is getting weaker. We may be advancing in technology, but you're getting weak at some place. My grandmother used to always say that you get weaker and wiser. I was like, Grandma, what is you talking about? You get weaker and wiser. I'm gonna be wise if I'm, stronger, or should I say, instead of weaker, stronger. We get, you may get wiser, but you're not as strong. You're not as weak. And I see what she mean, what she's talking about now. You
yeah.
know.
We have I'm sorry, we have some more comments if you would like me
Okay.
to read.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Um, Miss Charlie Joe. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. She said good morning. Then she said they still lie and always lie. And Gwen Factor says these lawmakers make too much money from NRA to restrict the laws. Unfortunately, their greed will be the destruction of this nation. Gwen Factor also said, I've been a taken employee for years. Not ashamed. We got to get it any way we can. Katina said, I think your co host is just saying we must make a decision not to use guns on each other. And then Katina said as well, you may not be able to stop the gun making, but you can stop using them on each other.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. That's where we're getting it to. We gotta teach it. We gotta teach our babies, teach the kids. Like I said, the guns used to be made to protect us, to protect black lives. That's when we started carrying, to protect ourselves against the colonizers. Now they using it on each other, just like they're the colonizers. And you're right. So the colonizer can sit back and say, we ain't got to do the work. They doing it on themselves because they got the mind. Send one out there, boom. It always take one bad apple to spoil the bunch. You have one rotten apple and it starts to affect the other apples around it. Just like what I was saying with Takeoff and his group, his association. He may not have been the hot headed one, but because he had an irrational person in their group, you got to sometimes remove that irrational person because they can get you hurt or killed, you know, and you don't get no peace in your group. You know, you a
Yeah,
business. You want to live to do something.
yeah,
That's like if we have an organization, right? And you got one person in it. It could be me, you, Katina, Molly, Girlie, but we have one person that's a rah 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 person that's always bringing some heat with them. You ain't gonna never get no peace because there's always gonna be something started.
yeah. Well, again, that's where, and like I said, we have to come together. And let's be realistic. Not all of us will come together and be as one, but those who can need to come together and let's make that change. And let's, because a lot of our children are not out here because they want to be. You don't know the situation in some of these children's homes until you go talk to them. And so they're filled with resentment and hurt and that desire to be loved and accepted. So they turn to the street where their boys loving on them, so it's so many different aspects to what's going on in this world, but we have to approach it one moment at a time, one person at a time. And for me, if I change one life, then my life matters, so it, it's easy to point the finger and say, oh, they just a bad seed. And I'm not going to say it ain't some bad seeds out here, because it definitely is. It's some bad seeds, but getting to know them is something on a different level. Like I said, talking to them. And these boys didn't know me when I first moved around here. But now when I walk down the street, hi, mom. Oh, excuse me, mom. I get the respect because I respect them. And just because they on that corner, like I said, you just don't know their stories. I've seen young men out there crying because their parents treat them a certain way and they screaming and hollering on the phone. You don't want me out here, but you want so and so and so and so. So we have to approach it with a love angle. And not everyone will be accepting, but imagine the ones who will accept it, who do want to change. Because I've talked to them and many of them want to change. And they're like, Mom, they put us out here in these programs and they want to pay us $9 an hour. You can't take them boys and put them and give them no $9 an hour. And I say boys because they, most of them the ages of my sons, though they're grown, for me, they baby boys, so it's just like I said, the ones who will and the ones who can should. So we can do what we can to save those who actually want to be saved. And there's some sitting on the very edge, waiting for that one person to say, I care. So it's vital that we go there. And like I said yesterday, and I don't mean nothing against the church, because you know it's just been my church experience, and I love God. I'm always gonna believe in God, but at the same token, some of these pastors, you better step it up, because you're gonna be charged with these people running away from the church instead of to the church.
Amen. And that's what they doing now. ATMs in the church. It starts from home. It starts from the home and the upbringing and the love that you give your child and the love that you put around your child. Everything that we put around our children nowadays is corrupted. Like it used to be the church. They used to make you go to church. Got to go to church and Sunday school. The pastor started messing with the people in the church, the women, the boys, the nuns, or whatever. If that's if you're Catholic, whatever. But we was Baptists, but you still had the deacons and the deaconess, and then the people in there you were putting around because they was corrupted, but you were still made to go to this corrupted institution every day, and sorry, every Sunday, and you're bringing it up, and then you get corrupted because your parents not going to church with you; they just sending you to Sunday school, go to school, Sunday school, go to church, go to church, but they still hung over maybe from the night whatever before. But you do what your parents say. You go to church, and if the church isn't right, you get tainted. Every church ain't the same. Every pastor not the same. Every
No,
Reese is only one Reese is only one Bernice individual institution because you come across a bad or a negative experience you don't hold on to that hurt. You got to let it go. And that starts again with mental health. We need help. We need to be treated for the stuff that hurt us, the past, the present, and the future. Because it's going to keep hurting until we can fix or try to get a niche of what's going on or to recognize. We got to acknowledge some things. Some people are toxic to themselves. They got to recognize their own bullshit. If you want to change, you can't be the saying every time I do this, this happen or do that happen. You gotta be aware. You gotta recognize, and we gotta accept some responsibility. Like hearing you talk the other day, I realized when you said about when they're pouring on us, how our children get to run off,
that
and
was
I and I
wrong.
can and I can see that that was a good point. That was wrong. That was a good point. And I can see if we're letting people treat us bad and our children see that, they're gonna grow up and like, well, damn, I could treat mama bad or talk this way to mama and everything, and that's okay because she accepted that from that person. Our children is always watching us and watching to see what get done to us, and also watching to see what we do. I realized that now being a mama, because when I was a child, I didn't know that's what I was doing. I didn't know that's what I was imitating. And sometimes we pick up on our parents' bad habit, not even knowing that. And we carry that. I don't want to carry that no more. I want to go up now that I know who I am. It took me 45 years to realize who I am inside. And if that means I take the high road now, that, so be it, because I'm on a different road. I'm on a different path. And we as individuals, we need to install that in our children. It starts from the crib. What Chubb Rock say? Decency start from the crib. And
Yeah.
that's what we got to teach our children coming up so they can go. And like you said, how many of those boys out there on the street come from broken home or damaged where they wasn't getting enough love where their parents wouldn't say, baby, I love you, instead of calling you a stupid MF or you got shit for brains or you wouldn't shovel shit from an elephant. All of that negativity that I realized, even coming out, oh, you fat, you sloppy, you like this, you like that. We absorb that negative. If our
Mhm.
parents is spewing insults because they love us, we don't. That ain't love, and we get confused or conflicted on what love really is. That's why I'm saying all of this hurts me. I didn't know Offset, but it hurts me. It hurts me as a people. All of this, it's like I feel now. I didn't feel like this before, Bernice. 20 years ago, I could care less. I didn't give a good, you know, I could care less. But when I look around and I see something is changing within me, and I guess that's the individual thing. We all got to change because I'm pretty sure 20, 30 years ago, you didn't care about nothing either. We moved differently. When we know better, we supposed to do better. And I see that's what we're doing. I see that's what you're moving towards better for your future, for your children, for your grandchildren. Am I wrong or right?
Yeah.
We all trying to be better for the next generation.
Yeah, definitely true. And the thing of the thing about that is, like I said, I often tell people I have 9 children, so I've dealt with, I guess you could say, multiple personalities. But one thing I could say about my children, they saw me go through a lot, but in the same token, what they saw, they didn't use against me. Like when people mistreated me, they didn't turn around and say, "Oh, I can do that to mom." No, no. I think it depends on the person because everybody doesn't think the same. Like I said, for me, I said I promised to always be there for my kids to get everything that I felt that I didn't get as a child. And could I give them everything financially? No, but I gave them strength. I gave them love. I encouraged them. They know if you can't call nobody else, let me call mom. Let me call mom. It could be 3 o'clock in the morning. Mom, this going on. All right, baby, I got you. So it's. I think there's a lot of. It has a lot to do with outside influences as well. Because you go out here and your kids in school and they peer pressure. If they're not strong enough, they will submit. And a lot of these guys, look, if they like, if I ain't doing what they doing, then I'm gonna be the next victim. So it's just so much to it. But in the end, the thing is to make them better, to help them be better. Because you said it, we have a lot of nonprofits out here, but sitting in your office ain't gonna do nothing. Coming out here once a month, putting up some balloons, that crap ain't gonna work. Open some doors, have some events on a regular where these people can come or grab something to eat because you never know who's hungry.
That's right.
They can sit and watch a movie and at that moment they can feel safe. You know what I'm saying? So you just never know what people need because I've seen drug dealers who are actually homeless. They make enough because with 40 guys on the same corner, you ain't making but so much money. It's a battle out here, and we have to be willing to fight together instead of against each other.
Amen. That's right. Amen to that.
We have to, and those who will, I say I'm all for it. I'm the one to be there. I've been to the point where I lived in shelters, and I still went and fed the homeless because I feel them, because
That's
I've
right.
been there.
That's right.
So I know what it's like to be judged and looked at like, oh my God. So it's where we belong. We belong with each other. We belong holding each other down. We belong, yeah, we belong together as one in a community where we study building each other too much to focus on who got what and who don't have what and I'm better than you and oh I got a degree so you're stupid. No, ain't none of that. We don't need that. We need positive energy. And are we going to always get along? No. But that's when it comes into play. We have to learn to work out our issues instead of lashing out because we need to heal ourselves. It's been generation after generation after generation. When it's going to stop? If we don't stop it, who will? Because they don't care.
That's right. That's right. Look, then the moms has spoken.
We
you
got some
know.
more comments. Let me look. Let me see. Oh, Katina said, Karl Marx said, religion is the, I can't, opiate of the masses. I don't know. I'm trying to see these words. Child. And Miss Charlie Joe said, very good conversation happening here. Thank you, sisters. Much love. And she said, absolutely. That's you, girl. Katina said, people have to seek help too. I agree. I agree. And that's why we have Ward 8 has so many mental health facilities, but again, they're not being held accountable. My mom worked in mental health and they had therapists in there writing notes, saying, I saw this person and they never saw them. They're not making the calls. They're not knocking on the doors. It's called community support. So you're supposed to be in the community supporting people.
That's right. And they lying and trying to get the money. It's
Yes,
corruption and
that's exactly what you
everything that man got his hand in. It's corrupt. But that's why I want to tell everybody on the 19th, please come out on the 19th. Miss Bernice is hosting. Tell them what you hosting, baby. You got the
um
picture. You got
um
the
my but it's called A Light from Rome. My son's name was Jerome Smith. And it's basically we're gonna have a conversation about mental health and different aspects, and you'll be able to ask questions, and there'll be a therapist on site. We're gonna have resources, information. If you need help, somebody to advocate for you, I'm all for it. Or I will direct you to somebody who can help you, because the fight starts again with us. So we're gonna be there. We're gonna share our stories. We're gonna have a little bit entertainment. My children, my son's siblings, they'll be performing. Reese's going to speak. So we're going to have a good time and we're going to enjoy each other and we're going to obtain some information to help build each other and break the cycle and the stigma attached to mental health.
yes. This is going to be a celebration of healing, and it starts with us. We trying to make the difference, and we want y'all, the community, to come out and be involved. This is healing, and it's one step at a time. So if
Right.
y'all can, please come out. Miss Charlie Joe said a lot. I can My eyes are really weak right now until I get an injection on the 11th of November. So if I act like I can't see nothing, y'all forgive me if I mess up or butcher up anything.
Burned out. So one of the biggest mental health issues that I see among us black people, many of us don't know how to love or be loved. For many, love make them uncomfortable. We must learn to love ourselves and each in order to better ourselves.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
Better in order to
I
better
agree.
ourselves.
Because
Because
sometimes, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I had one of my son's siblings, and on my birthday this year, my daughter wanted to celebrate, but it was my first birthday without my son, so he's sitting there looking at me, and you can tell he felt bad. But his response was, he said, "Mom, I don't know how to comfort people," and that's sad. That's sad that maybe he didn't receive that comfort, but he said, I don't know how to comfort people. He said, but I'm so sorry, Mom. And we have to learn how to get comfortable with running out hugging people. I've been seeing videos on TikTok where people will put on signs that say free hugs. And you never know what that could do for somebody because people go long times without affection.
And then sometimes people could get affection but don't know what to do with the affection. Like if you take a couple, a man and a woman could be in a relationship. He or she could be everything that their spouse need and love upon their spouse, but because that spouse don't know, have never been truly loved, he can't recognize it and he'll push that away. He or she will push that away. When here it is, this is real love. But because it was like, I don't know what that is, I don't know what that feels like, I don't know what real love is. Some people don't. And some people think, oh, you playing games or you doing that. No, I'm just giving you love. Why do you love me? Because you're supposed to be loved. Don't you deserve love? Some people don't think they deserve it. And some people don't recognize it and know what it is when they get it. And that's sad. That's why we gotta love up on each other, like you said, so they know what love is supposed to feel like. It ain't supposed to hurt. It's not supposed to make you cry. It's not supposed to make you angry. It's supposed to make you feel good, make you feel safe, make you feel comfortable where you can go to sleep, if that makes any sense. And I'll give an example. When I was in the hospital, I didn't feel like I was getting good care, good service, good nothing there. So I did not sleep. I would go days in. And the only time I would sleep when a loved one came to visit me, that's the only time I felt protected and safe enough that I can let my guards down. Like every Sunday, I knew I would get some good sleep. Misha would come and stay with me. She would get off her part-time job and stay with me Sunday, damn near 8 hours. She said because she know that I'm tired. And she was like, I'm letting you get your rest. I'm in a hospital, but she was like, I'm letting you get your rest. I know you're not eating. I know you're on edge. She said, I do that so you can rest. Love should be a place where we can rest in. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? You
That's,
should be able to lay back and nestle like a baby in its mom's bosom. You just lay back and love, and that's how it should feel. And when I hug you, that's why I grab and hug you tight. If you ever notice, people that I love get good hugs because I'm giving you my love and affection. Hey, like it's supposed to feel good like that, like a big old confident hug, not a little pat on the back. Hey girl, I'm not fake like that. If I'm not gonna hug you, I'm not gonna hug you. I don't hug everybody. Some people get fist bumps or whatever. But if
yeah.
I truly love you and I bang with you, Molly, what I do to you, Molly?
Yeah, I get lost in them boobs. I be trying to get out. Can't breathe. Like Reese, let me up for some air. You know.
I'll be so happy to see family. You know, when I say my friends are my family, I'd be so happy to see the people I put around me to choose to give love to. They give me love back. Our energy feeds each other. I'm happy. You know, when I
Yeah.
see people, like, oh, there you go. You know, y'all show up whatever event we doing. I feel happy because I feel like I'm banging with people that give me good energy and I give good energy back to them.
Facts. Facts.
Yeah, that was
Definitely.
big. But for Bernice, I was in your son position before, and I think from my experience, I can tell you why we don't know how to comfort people in them situations. And I don't know your son life story, but for me, when I was young, at the time I didn't. Now I know how. But we lose so many friends when we young. You know, like a lot of my friends was getting killed. I done lost over 20 plus friends. I done lost numbers. But when you lose so many friends, then when somebody else lose somebody, definitely you be like, what do I do? Because nobody came to comfort me. Nobody came to say, oh, I'm sorry you lost that, that. So you do mostly what people done to you. So when I first got that, I was like, oh, that's what you do. So now I know. So if he got that during the times when he lost people, he'd have knew how to do it in return. But most time us fellas, we act like, oh, ain't nothing right. Oh, I'm all right. I'm good. It is my eighth friend. I'm only 16, but I'm good. But nah, we not good. So most time we gotta stop letting these kids say, oh, I'm gonna be all right. No, you're not. And most people who ain't deal with it, you think, oh, he all right, but most time they not. So when you get older, you get numb. So you hear people like, oh, I just lost my friend. Yeah, it was a car accident. You be like, oh, okay. His life wasn't really like taken. Like, oh, he died from an illness. You like, oh, okay. They be like, no sympathy. Oh, it's sympathy. It's just like he died regular. My grandfather died. You like, oh, okay. You don't know what to do. It's just like they be crying, and you be looking like, okay, you don't know what to do in those situations because you like, man, I done lost so many people, and like, I don't know how you post. I don't know what to tell you, my man. Get past it. It just seems more harsh, but I just think that just comes from experience, though. Like they get somebody to really help them go through the hard times, then they can help the next person. And I think that's what anything. You teach somebody to ride a bike, they can teach the next person. Teach somebody how to fish, they can teach the next person. Basketball, so on and so on. So we need to teach people how to deal with grief, how to deal with hurt, how to deal with loss, because then they can teach their kids early on. Because we losing kids 14 now. So imagine all these little 14-year-old friends, how they feeling. They got to go back to school. We used to have to go back to school like nothing happened. Like your friend just got killed in the neighborhood just yesterday, and you still got to go to school for the rest of the week. Still got to
No,
talk about it, hear about it. So, that's why I
I don't
think
do that.
it was.
That's something my kids lose people. I don't make them go right to school. If they go, it's their option. But the young man, actually, he's my son. I call him my son because he's my
Mhm.
son's brother. I didn't birth him, but he called me mom. So it's hard because when their father died, my son chose to go to school. That was his way of dealing with it, I guess. Um, but I guess everybody has a different way of dealing with their grief because my daughter didn't even start grieving for my son until like 2 months ago. And she made a comment. She was standing at the bus stop going to school and saw the police and the ambulance. She said, "Why everybody gotta die?" And she just lost it.
Yeah.
Mhm. Hit her
Wow. Did you
later.
get her some help? Because that's important. This is a true story. I'm not gonna say the family member's name, but it's one of my relatives. They were. And this is a couple few years ago. They was leaving Addison Road, not Addison Road, Capitol Heights Metro Station, and they're in high school at the time. Okay, they're like 15, 16. It was a group of the boys, like four boys, that went down Chinatown to watch a movie, getting off at Capitol Heights. So they were accosted by these people that wanted to take their jacket and clothes. So all the boys broke out and they said, "We're gonna run." All four of the dudes started taking off running. So the people behind them was shooting at him, shooting, pow, pow, pow. My cousin turned around and his friend fell to the ground, and he was ducking and weaving, and he was so scared. That boy lost his best friend, get ready to get his football scholarship, and my cousin kept that stuff in and pretend like he was okay, and he ended up snapping later, where he had to be institutionalized. He had PTSD, and they did not realize that they caused that boy to have a trauma and nervous breakdown, to see your best friend gunned down because they wanted your jackets and shoes. And he said that could have been him. They was running together, and the bullet just got the friend, and that messed up his psyche. So for some time, he thought he was okay. He was night terrors, everything, and it messed with him mentally. Now he's on medicine for schizophrenic. So some people have these mental disorders in it, or they're bipolar, and something triggers it and get your mental all off. And seeing his best friend gunned down, you in school, you ain't going to school, y'all not sharing lockers, you running side by side with that boy, spinning over each other's house, to lose something like Molly said, so young. We didn't
Yeah,
recognize it. The family was like, we just like, thank God it could have been you. And he was like, why wasn't it me? It should have been me. This boy family crying because this scout was looking at him. He was bad when it came to football, all sports. He was bad, and he got
yeah.
taken out like that.
But the thing is, a lot of kids don't want to go into the facilities. So that's why we need a safe place they can go. We definitely gotta have another place because They don't want to be seen going to these places. They don't want to be pulled out their classes in school. So we have to create a atmosphere where they can come and they feel safe talking to people, you know.
Yeah.
So we got to reach them from different aspects. Everybody can't be treated the same. So yeah, it's important that they get the help that they need.
Yeah, because when he off his meds, he have a bipolar episode. So now because he was traumatized, shocked, I guess, if you will.
Yeah,
And then we how do you handle that? We don't know until we go through some stuff, really how to handle it and deal with stuff, Molly. So I know you were saying, hey, it'll be all right, it'll be all right. But I'm glad that you found the love or learned how to deal with that. I'm glad you didn't keep it inside because you could have been one of the ones that kirked out and they
Yeah,
be like,
yeah,
it's Kirk
why?
out. Yeah, it's Kirk out like this because he not used to it. He not from the hood. We used to people getting shot, hand shot, so it don't really traumatize us as much as it did him. Like I ran with my friends, and two of them actually got killed. And it could have easily been me, but I ain't, feel like he did. I was hurt, but that's what I'm saying. Dealing with the loss was one thing I had to deal with. But when we young growing up in like Ward 8 areas, we not really like we trying to get back. It feel like somebody hit you in the face and ran off and you know who did it. So you like, oh, we gonna go get a hit back. That's the thing we gotta grow out of as these young kids growing up. So I know
Getting
when
a
they
hit back.
beefing and when they going through what they going through, when you lose somebody, you ain't wishing like, oh, he go to jail and all that. You like, I need to get back. I need to
right.
make up for my man. He's like, it's no different than the army, but they quick to send people down to these little, these wars and don't understand that when you with somebody, y'all going to war and one of them get killed beside you and they send these soldiers back home, they mind fucked up. Because a lot of
Yeah.
these people don't come from these places. Like we used to gunshots, we used to violence, but for people who not, and they see something and experience something like that, it's a lot different. They go through all types of things, man, because that's new to them, But for us, it's mostly like survival, But that's still something that no kid should ever have to go through. I don't care where you from, because these white kids they pick up guns just as well, but for some reason they know how to use them. So
Because
it's
they
the
being
same thing.
taught. They're being taught how
Exactly.
to hunt from a very young age. They got this shooting buck, shooting deer. They being taught how to
Yeah,
hunt.
and
You
that's
go
a
in the
sport.
country anywhere, they have guns in the back of their car. They being taught. They hunting. Are they hunting us for sport? Getting ready for that? They always been taught that.
Mm,
And we need to
like,
get into deer hunting. The first few niggas out there.
long range.
Well, I'm vegan, man. I'm against the hunting of animals, man.
Huh?
I hate they be hunting animals though. Then they be like all these animals going extinct. Of course, fuck, stop shooting them. Like
They
They're
shoot
not hunting
they
for
ain't
food.
just
They're
them,
hunting
dying.
for sport.
Well,
shooting them. Yeah.
against
Okay,
some Reese before we get out of here, Reese,
you
Reese,
guys, the question is, where do you belong? Where do we belong? And I love Bernice's answer when she said, we belong with each other. We belong loving each other. We can make the best out of any bad situation because we did it since the beginning of time. We've always made the best out of a bad situation. Even when we were enslaved, we survived off of the trash because they gave us trash, fed us trash, but we took it and made something with it. We always took the trash and make something with it because we see the beauty, we see the essence, we see life for what it is. We used to anyway. We need to get back to that thinking, not enslaved mentality, but the mentality that we're gonna make the best out of this and we gonna ride together. That's what we need.
let's ride, let's ride, let's ride.
Let's ride together. We belong together. Bernice, we belong together. Molly, you in the middle. We
Leaders.
all belong together.
And it's more than us. We deep in the plug.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
So
It was a good show. We appreciate everybody tuning in. We definitely do, and all
thank
your
you so
responses
much.
and all that good stuff. It's always good to hear from our people.
Now, I
I
got a question. Do y'all want to talk about Herschel Walker tomorrow? Do we need to talk about him, Molly?
Janice talking about him all the time on the show. It don't matter. He pissing her off down in Atlanta because she live in Atlanta. So, she always bringing up Herschel. I think he got mental illness though. So,
I think he got mental
they
issues
using him
too.
right now. So it's messed up. Bernice got to see some videos on Herschel Walker,
Yeah, we
old
got to keep
football player. So they trying to use him for the older votes and people who used to like him as a player, similar like OJ running for
and black
something right now.
folks.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, he's burnt out. Poor Herschel.
You
He
sound
need a
like
hug
you need something.
and vacation too. We're gonna talk about him tomorrow, y'all. The
Uh,
Hershey Highway. That's the topic of tomorrow's show. Herschel
Oh,
Walker,
they
the
wrong.
Hershey Highway.
and how to
Oh,
get him.
Did you say Bernice how to what?
I said how to get him on medication.
Yeah, help. He need help. He calling out to the people. Help, help me. Molly, Bernice, y'all got anything else to say? Ah,
Nope. Much love, y'all. Until tomorrow, be safe and we love you.
love.